An awful lot of hype went into FM26 Matchday experience, but is it really an upgrade on FM24, and is it really that immersive? Let's look at the two side by side and find out. Chances are you've seen the FM24 or even one of its predecessors pre-match team selection screen countless times, so we are going to spare you the detail of what is going on this page. However, there are a few things that so far are noticeably absent and looking like staying that way in FM26. These include then the tactical style sidebar, which of course has been replaced by groups of in possession and out of possession instruction tiles instead, and the tabs by which you can quickly access things like opposition instructions, and actually the general ability to revisit these instructions once you've progressed to the addressing your team stage. In FM26 then, you are greeted with an onslaught of colour, but also this notion that every player now has split roles for in possession and out of possession. That beloved tactical sidebar then is the first casualty, as the space is now at a premium to feature double the detail for playing roles and familiarity. You've still got the beloved all or next match button, which I swear by for quick tweaks that don't then supplant my default setups, but a few buttons across the top here haven't actually been working for me during the FM26 beta, namely that opposition instructions button, which no matter how many times I click it does fuck all. The major difference to team instructions brings with it the need to select your group of tiles to toggle, rather than simply viewing them all on that one of 3 page setup. But this is just one of many lots of clicking needed gripes that the community have at the moment. Hopefully though, in time, this will actually just mean there's more depth to the game. What I will say is an absolutely fascinating feature though, and one we're very much an advocate for, is this player positioning indicator, where we used to have the kind of coverage of the pitch heat mapped for us for when the ball is in play. We actually now see areas of the pitch that players should occupy based on their chosen role. This works for in possession but is particularly useful for out of possession, and I think this will seriously help you master your game control and hone that custom tactic. There's not much to the address the squad page in FM26, it's the standard list of motivational options, and without, as we've mentioned, that ability to make any last minute alterations to your tactics. Probably more realistic this, but it will catch us off guard we think at some point, as we've been used to in recent iterations of the game being able to add marking instructions for instance at this stage. But let's get into the matches and do a bit of side by side action, shall we? So immediately what is jumping out then is FM26 on the right clearly has the better lighting, and that is what we would have grown to expect with the Unity engine now powering the graphics there. It is more colourful, again the off-screen or in-between highlights, it's brilliant to see that 2D view, but where the hell has my visualizer gone? That is one of my gripes, and the in-game control actually, or the in-match levels of control that you have, is probably going to be saved for another video from me, because I do think it's possibly one of the biggest things not being talked about. The ball moves in a very similar way, the players have that kind of half human feel to them. Although I will have to say this, I've zoomed in and paused the FM26 here because I just want to call out that everyone looks the same, so the player models aren't great. But I'll have to stop me there because there's been the first goal of the game and it's come in the FM24 match. Who's got it, Chris Kamara? Oh, he's not there. Well, it was Ricardo Horta who bent it round the keeper to the back post, and it was pretty beautiful. And that's actually what I'm going to focus on then for the rest of this video. It's the beauty of the goals going in FM26, which is perhaps, for such a leap in aesthetics, its biggest flaw. We're going to watch here now the FM26 first goal of the day go in, and it's scored by Glatzel, who is the League 2 Messi in my opinion. However, he's just pinged that one straight down the centre of the goal after an ugly deflection gave him a second bite of a cherry, and that's actually a very common theme I've found so far in my playing hours of FM26. It's that all the goals going in seem to be going in a very ugly fashion, and that's a bit of a step backwards I think when the game's aesthetics have come on so far. What I would say though is that there are a few animations, 3 or 4 turns and a couple of dribbles, including the drop of the shoulder, which are lovely to see in FM26. and I'm not sure if it is just the case that the game needs a few more patches before it's ripe and ready and goalkeepers are a little bit more responsive to the goals going in left, right and centre of them, but at the moment it just doesn't feel like I'm scoring as beautiful a goal in FM26 as I was in FM24. Now, what I'm about to show you though is in FM24 an example of what I would call a good ugly goal because of the realism of it. So we've got a shot from outside the box which just minorly deflects around the goalkeeper and takes it a different direction after he's dived. Now this I do like to see, and I really was a fan of that kind of realistic deflection in FM24. It just comes off that defender there and bends around the goalkeeper. But this goal in exactly the same match is an example of the type of rip snorter I grew to love in the last instalment of FM. Turning our attentions back to FM26 then, and it's Paul Glatzel again with this one, effortlessly gliding past the defender but then pinging it down the centre of the goal. And this is what I'm talking about. Most of the things going in just look like they should be saved. Now if this is the kind of standard that is being reflected in League 2, fair enough, but I have a sneaky suspicion, and it will downgrade FM26 in my opinion, that you'll see the same goals scored at the highest level as well. If I'm proved wrong, I'll be very happy with that. But just for fairness sake, let's have a look, shall we, at Sky Bet League 2's Goal of the Month as it came through shortly after that game against Chesterfield that I played with Swindon, and we're going to have a look at this one. So I think we're going to be in for a shit pinger, but let's see what we are given. So the ball's getting passed around quite nicely by the team. Colchester, I think. It comes across. Bishop. Bosh, top right corner. That is actually lovely stuff. And if touchline shouts were still a thing in FM26, you can bet your left bollock would be hitting praise for those dance moves. So we're not exactly blown away by the matchday experience immersion that was so hyped for FM26, but it is early days. We've got a bunch of videos on the way, including one where we'll elaborate on that in-game control factor feeling a bit dialed down in this game. We'll also be putting a pure beginner's guide out there, but if you're wondering what to watch next, why not get familiar with every in-possession and out-of-possession role in the game, with a player who we believe is the archetype exampled for that role in real life. Until next time then, my friends, adios.